The video concludes with you witnessing the events that are developing in Washington, leading up to an announcement that has taken the American people by surprise. The White House has finally made the decision that the country has been waiting for. Taking folks off guard, for your benefit, please click the button. Additionally, don't forget to subscribe. It costs nothing. All right, friends, let's get started. I have some fantastic news for the Hispanic population in the United States. We will finally hear the announcement of a policy that will dramatically enhance millions of lives in this country in the coming hours. This country has been excitedly expecting a significant decision from President Joe Biden. In the coming hours, President Joe Biden of the United States will unveil a new executive move on immigration issues that will improve the lives of millions of unauthorized immigrants now residing in the, according to White House officials, this election year initiative in the U.S. might inspire some liberal voters who aren't sure whether to support President Joe Biden again in the coming years. November elections consider the following election season is upon us, and many have said, but this is just a political move to get votes for November of next year. To which I will respond. Following friends, which occurs with both Democrats and Republicans, is nothing unusual in this nation, or even in many other nations where, as we are all well aware, election years are used to implement policies that favor the individuals only to gain votes in the upcoming elections. But I'm going to advise you to be extremely serious for the immigrant community, the Latino community, and all of the Hispanic residents of this. Whether an election is taking place or not is essentially irrelevant in this country. What counts is that millions of people want this action to be made in order to eventually set up the legal stay of giving these Americans a legal status that many have been requesting for not just in the last few years, but also in the previous few decades, and it appears that the time has come when the federal. In the coming hours, the U.S. administration will decide exactly how this new action is implemented. If you enjoy our work, don't forget to hit the thank you button. That would be of great use to our channel. Joe Biden is scheduled to meet with the DEA tomorrow regarding a new executive order at a White House event, to which the media and certain others have already been invited. Other high-profile Americans to this gathering, where we will talk about the nation's immigration problem. As we previously mentioned, President Joe Biden is essentially in charge of this decision and will sign a new presidential order tomorrow that will greatly help millions of people in this nation. Nonetheless, the President of the United States sources from the House, who discussed the internal plans but wished to remain anonymous, recognized that they might change. States has already firmly established the measure or decision. As previously indicated, friends, there are millions of immigrants in the United States nationwide. I mean this when I say that I fully support legal immigration. We have arranged the announcement for tomorrow. As you are well aware, I think that any time someone enters the nation illegally, the U.S. not only breaks immigration laws, but also adds to the continuous chaos surrounding immigration on our southern border. In support of legal immigration within the U.S., but we also have to recognize that this is a growing issue that has developed over the last few years and decades, with millions of undocumented immigrants living in the shadows of our nation. And we must find a solution for each of them. By doing so, we will eventually bring order to this nation's immigration system and inevitably encourage legal migration, which is what everyone wants. Strive to enter the United States lawfully and refrain from using illicit methods, since you are aware that crossing the border illegally can have serious consequences for people. Futures. The recently issued executive order will permit close attention. According to White House sources, undocumented immigrants, those who are in the country illegally, can apply for legal status if they marry residents of the United States. The purpose of this new executive order is to encourage the Democratic Party to base and nudge those who are still unsure to cast a ballot. They have chosen to vote after considering the needs of the Latino community in our nation, which is, as we all know, a powerful electoral force. Because unauthorized immigrants still cannot vote, despite common opinion. However, I want to remind people that nearly all undocumented immigrants who are currently residents of the country have kids, daughters, wives, siblings, and relatives. When choosing who to vote for in the upcoming elections in November, people who are legally here in this country and have the ability to vote are directly influenced by this. During his administration, President Biden partnered with a record number of. He just enacted a new order narrowing the restriction on asylum at the border to dissuade crossings, which, as you are well aware, have been increasing. The immigrants in question were captured breaking the law when they crossed the border between the United States and Mexico. Some people in this nation have even claimed in recent years that the United States southern border is ungoverned area. Since thousands and thousands of people cross the border every day, there is essentially no law and order. When people enter the nation illegally, they turn themselves in to immigration authorities. Most of them request asylum, which is permitted by U.S. law to do. They then have to wait years to be granted asylum. Several years before they get a court date to make their case before a judge, some fellow Democrats, particularly those who support immigration in the U.S. Senate and Congress, have opposed President Biden has requested protection for long-term U.S. residents without legal status under this asylum prohibition, paying particular attention to spouses of U.S. citizens who are also U.S. citizens. Can be found in this country illegally, as you are well aware. I've been questioned numerous times how it's possible to be in this nation unlawfully, even if you are married to a U.S. citizen. I wish to remind a lot of people that once you marry an American citizen, you cannot change your immigration status. It doesn't matter if the undocumented immigrant entered the country unlawfully or not. You entered this country unlawfully, which is why millions of people are married to citizens of the United States, but are unable to change their legal status because they entered the nation illegally years ago. The Department of State plans to connect tomorrow's White House event to the anniversary of the Deferred Action Program for Arrivals in 2012, or DACA. In accordance with this new presidential order, the U.S. could additionally establish new regulations instructing everyone involved that they should presume DACA recipients are qualified for non-immigrant visas. An individual acquainted with all of these measures and the impending executive order further mentioned that in the event that they leave the United States, they will be eligible for non-immigrant visas. In other words, this ruling may allow all DACA beneficiaries who are now protected in this nation with a provisional status to apply for non-immigrant visas should they want to leave the country. Would naturally apply for these visas elsewhere, which would mean that U.S. embassies and consulates around the world. Of course, this does not allow these people to return to the United States. Instead, give them a non-immigrant visa. Give legal status, allowing all of these people to participate in American society and naturally aspire for a more normal life. These anonymous sources who are involved do not, however, offer a route to citizenship or residency. The conversations that Casablanca is expected to reveal tomorrow indicate that this might have a big effect on the lives of those who are married to U.S. citizens, but live in hiding and fear being kicked out of the nation. Figures from the FWD Defense Organization indicate that over 1.1 million undocumented immigrants in the country are married to residents of the United States. However, it is unknown if these people will be covered by the upcoming executive action. The declaration of, in just a few hours, this new order, which will help millions of Americans with immigration, will be implemented. In the meantime, please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, share this video, and activate the bell to keep everyone updated. Much obliged. Until the